Hey guys, welcome back. It's Tinker Taylor here today, and I'm bringing you another Pokemon build series. What else would I be doing? Although next month I am going to be kind of accidentally saying it a couple of times because we'll be doing it temporarily, just doing a different challenge, and then we'll be back to this one. Yeah, today we are doing Arbok, which is Cobra backwards, in case you didn't know. And I was very heavily inspired witch vibes. I don't know. It just gave me like I feel like a witch would have an Arbok in if we're like blending worlds. I feel like that's a good accurate representation of what I feel or who would have an Arbok. Um so if you don't know, Arbok is a snake Pokemon, a poison type, and has very it looks like a cobra because if you say Arbok, it's cobra but spelled with a K instead. But yeah, it's if you've seen a cobra with its I don't know what it's called, frills flared. I don't know, man. Clearly, I don't know my animals. Yeah, it kind of just it looks like that. But purple, and it's got the some cobras have like markings on their neck, usually on the back, I believe. And they're very similar coloured to its surrounding, but Arbok is purple and the markings on its neck are red and yellow, I think. Again, I just had a photo up to look at, but I'm gonna be good and not look it up and actually just vibe and chat with you guys. So I did this build on stream, so if you see me kind of moving around weirdly or whatever, or there's like a random jump here or there or whatever, that is because out from stream. Mostly just the big breaks, so I don't think you guys really miss anything. In fact, I at the end I spent forever scrolling looking for a certain item, and I don't think I ever found it. I'm not sure I did. But apparently there's a bug where like everyone's dealing with it right now, where um the items, like the clutter items, are kind of disappearing. Like they're still there. If you know what they're called and you know what to look up, they will appear. But because I don't know what they're called, um, I can't find them. So yeah, that's basically that for that. That didn't make any sense. That's pretty much it when it comes to that clutter issue. So if you've noticed that, yeah, that is a thing. Because I know a few people who have been dealing with it, and I thought it was a better build buy thing. But James Turner had a problem with it. I was watching, he was renovating one of the Oasis Springs lots um, that EA didn't renovate, and he said something about it in that video. I think it was towards the end, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's why I can't find things. So yeah, if you're having problems looking for items, it would be because of that. Um, so yeah, I don't know how to fix it. Also, with this roofing, as I said, we were on stream when I was doing it, and I was having a lot of trouble. And then Gia showed up. So if you've been in any of my past videos recently, you'll know I've been raving and ranting Gia Sims for Life over on Twitch because she's doing the most amazing roofing uh tutorial videos, like how to do this and how to do that with roofing. And let me tell you, the amount of endorphins and dopamine that rushed through my body when Gia said, "I love your roofing, I like it," um, was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, like, and the Gia didn't even tell me what to do this time. This was just me taking what I did know from Gia and having fun with it and kind of exploring and experimenting some random things on my own. So, you know, the octagonal roof, that was something that Gia helped me with ages ago. It was a circle roof that Gia helped me with it, but I applied the same knowledge to the octagonal roof. I was gonna say square, but it's not a square. It's more than a square. Octagonal. But then yeah, the rest of the roofing is kind of me just going, oh, I don't really know. Let's make this up as we go. And you know what? I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Definitely let me know down below your thoughts and feelings on it. Also, this is my first time ever building in, there's this world called Ravenwood. think it is. Yeah, this is my first time ever building here, so I have never built here before. I have never ever built a single. Oh, actually, that's a lie. The Christmas village I did. Okay, I stand corrected. This is the second build I've ever done here, but the first in this neighborhood. So this is the one on the top left. No idea. You could not even pay me to remember the name. Could not remember the name for the life of me. Um, that's the great thing about, not great thing, but that's the thing about having my memory. Like there are certain things that I'm like, it'll come back to me, but at the most inconvenient times. But there are other things that I'm like, you could tell me 8,000 times, I would never remember. And I'm pretty sure this is one of them. The neighborhoods are just not something I'm gonna remember. Um, it's so much fun. But yeah, this is the neighborhood where the neighborhood based on the dead. There's one that's kind of like the I was gonna say overworld, and then I was gonna say the underworld, but the Vale, I think, the other side, and I think that's this neighborhood. And then I think there's another one that's like completely living, and then there's one that's kind of like in the middle. Also apologies if you can hear the dogs in the backyard. They do that, and I never know when they're gonna do that. They're just absolutely insane. Um, but every time I apologize on stream for that, people like, oh, I'm so sorry, guys, if you can hear the dogs barking. People are like, yeah, we can't hear that. And I'm like, great, now I sound insane. But you know what? That's kind of okay with me. I'd rather you not hear them. But anyway, yeah, when I was building this, I had a very kind of specific idea in mind. There's a few different movies and TV shows. I guess it's mostly just movies, kind of mixing in my head, and for the life of me, I can't figure out where one of them comes from. So I know the colors in my head that Arbok give are from The Princess and the Frog. The I can't remember, I don't even think I've seen the full movie. If you know anything about me, it's that I've barely seen any movies ever. But from what little I've seen of it, like little snippets and photos and stuff like that, the dude with the top hat and he wears the purple coat thing. He reminds me of like the color scheme of Arbok a little bit. But there's another scene in another movie which totally escapes me, and it's people in a boat, like a little rogue canoe type boat, and they're in water and they are like canoeing up to this house in like a swamp. They go up and inside is like a witchy magical type shop. I feel like it's Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean. I still don't know which way is the right way. Um, I feel like okay, maybe it is that. Maybe okay, maybe it is. I'm gonna have to rewatch those movies to find out. Um, again, it's like what little I do know, I can never remember. It's great. It's fantastic. Um, and by fantastic I mean the worst thing in the world. Like don't get me wrong, I love when I watch movies and shows and TV shows. I said that twice, but sure. I love it when I watch things. Like I love to watch things, but I didn't grow up watching things, and because I have OCD, I find myself running back to my comfort shows a lot because I know what happens. I'm sort of it's almost like I'm in control of what's going to happen because I know what's going to happen. Um, but yeah, having new shows can sometimes be difficult. It can be, yeah, I don't know, just when I don't know what's gonna happen. I am really bad with looking up spoilers for some things, but other things like I'll start watching and then that's it. I'm committed. I'm into it. I want to watch it. I don't want to know the spoilers, but I do because well, I want to know what happens. So I have to like keep watching it. But yeah, the goal is to continually watch more and more movies until I get to a point where people are like, "Hey, have you seen this movie?" And my initial answer would be, um, and the funny thing about that is like what movies I have seen, some people are like, I've never even heard of that movie before in my life. And I love that. Some people have never heard of it. But it's very tough because there are people who've seen so many movies in this world. Like they've just seen a bajillion movies that they're like, yes, I know that movie, haven't seen it or have seen it or whatever. Or they're like me and haven't seen any movies, but the people who are sort of like never seen a movie to watching an average amount of movies, whatever that is, most people are like, yeah, I don't know those. Um, and I apologize if you can hear that buzzing. I normally turn my phone on silent, but I forgot to this time. Um, Silly little goose. But anyway, yeah, it's that's. I'm gonna have to watch Princess and the Frog now. I've heard from people it's a good movie. Which yeah, and that kind of makes me sad because one thing I do love kids movies, absolutely love kids movies. I guess I don't know, it's like healing a little part of your inner child. I feel like not many people out there don't have an aspect of themselves that needs that inner child healing. And that's not to say that the world is a terrible bad place, but no one's life is perfect. And I think more of us should watch kids movies and just get inside with get in touch with that side of ourselves. Um, it's just I think it's beautiful when people get in touch with a deeper side of themselves and heal a little part of themselves, and they might feel silly for, maybe you do watch The Princess and the Frog and you the Princess and the Frog. I feel like I'm getting the movie name wrong. Maybe you watch, but yeah, maybe you watch a particular kids movie and you cry and you feel so much better because of it. And I don't necessarily do that, but I do think it does heal you a little bit. There are some times where yes, I will watch a kids movie and cry. Absolutely. I'm not going to deny it. There are other times where I watch kids movies that are very emotional and emote evoking. Um, and nothing, not a shed of tears, not a single drop. But I think it's because certain movies resonate with certain people. So I remember watching Coco, and the people I was with were crying watching it, and I was like, "Yeah, this is sad," but not a single teardrop. And they were like, "You're so heartless," and I'm like, "I, I don't know that I feel the same way about the movie that you guys do. Like Bridge to Terabithia bawled my eyes out, absolutely bawled my eyes out. But Coco, I didn't, and I think it's movies resonate differently with different people, and the ones that make you feel certain ways might not make anyone else feel that way, or might not make certain people feel anything at all. um that's not to say Coco didn't make me feel, I just didn't feel as deeply as other people. And I guess one part of it is a cultural thing. Like for me, Day of the Dead is not something that is in my day-to-day life. Like I recognize it, I know it exists, I know people celebrate it, I know it's very big in some cultures, but in mine it's not. Um, even, some people compare Day of the Dead and Halloween, but Halloween's really not a thing here either. So for me, that it's a very different culture that I'm the lens that I'm looking at the movie through, whereas the people I was watching with don't necessarily celebrate Day of the Dead, but have a lot more of a deeper respect and understanding of it. And so, I feel like the reason why we reacted so differently is because of the fact that yeah, this particular um celebration is very different for the both of us. For me, it is something I'm an outsider to it. I'm someone who knows of it, and that's about as far as that extent goes. Um, and I guess yeah, there's probably other movies that I could watch that they might not react the same way. Because again, cultural things. Um, Bridge to Terabithia made me bawl my eyes out because the idea of losing your childhood, well, I guess childhood best like that would make anybody cry. I feel like that's a universal thing. But for me at the time when I watched it, I had not been moving around a lot. Like I've moved around a lot, but at that point when I'd seen it, I'd not been moving around a lot. I still had a childhood best friend, that I was very, very extremely close to. Unfortunately, we don't talk anymore, but that's just because moving around it made it difficult for us to stay in contact. And we kind of just lived different lives. But yeah, like at the time, the idea of losing them, it was absolutely heartbreaking. and then I ended up moving away from them. So to me, that was something that I could understand. And then the new group of friends that I made, we were all very much into the idea of having our own therapist. Yeah, we were quite young, um, and I really lent into that because yeah, it I didn't want to lose these friends because I felt like I just lost my old friend and um yeah, I don't know, life is kind of tough and confusing when it comes to stuff. But yeah, I think watching movies and stuff like that, like I think if I watched Bridge to Terabithia now, I think I would just have a complete breakdown. Um because it's so sad. And again, I like losing, okay, my childhood best friend didn't pass away, but I still don't have them in my life, and it's really sad. So I think movies like that I might kind of avoid a little bit, but yeah, other movies I definitely feel like I should get in there and watch some new ones. Um, and yeah, just heal that little bit of my inner childhood a little bit. And again, not to say that I had a massively traumatic childhood or anything. Stuff that just naturally, well, maybe not naturally, but just stuff that happens that, maybe you just need some time to process stuff that's going on. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of things that my brain has been processing recently, and yeah, I've definitely been up and down in my emotions recently just because I have been processing all those things. Um, but I've definitely had a lot more ups than downs recently, which is really good, which I think means that my brain is successfully processing these things. And I guess the best way for me to put it personally is accepting that like I can't go back and change these things, that these things did happen, like yes, I moved around a lot and it kind of needed to happen. I'm never gonna be able to go back and, change that. But the thing is, if I didn't move around, I wouldn't have met the people in my life that I have today. The people that I know today would not be in my life, and that would utterly destroy me because these people are seriously like amazing, amazing people, lifelong friends. And I know some people would be like, well, if you had have not moved around and whatever and you lived this life, maybe you would have met even better people and whatnot. But seriously, the people in my life, I would not give them up. They are absolutely wonderful, terrific human beings. And I just, every time I see their faces, it makes me so happy, or see messages from them or stuff like that. Yeah, these people are not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to be very positive in what I say and do and experience because yeah, I could go down the path of woe is me and my life wasn't fantastic and all these bad things happen, but like everybody has bad things happen to them. Everybody does. And everybody has the opportunity to take those smaller bad things and find the positives in them. Now, bigger things, I specifically said smaller bad things. Bigger things that happen that are bad, I'm not going to say, oh, just look at the positives because, big bad things need to be addressed and looked at and recognized and whatnot. But, you know, there are, yeah, absolutely things that we can choose to either submit to or to accept. And I think they're two different things, two different sides of the same coin. So, there is acceptance in the way of like, well, that happened and I'm never going to get better from it. I'm never going to whatever. Or you can go, you know what, that happened, but I can get better from this. I can move up. I can do these things that work out for me in the end. I can take these valuable lessons and not get in that situation again, or I'm stronger from it now, or you know what, I know my limits now. Some people don't necessarily know their limits, and it's good to know where your limits are. So, I think there's always something there's always a worse situation. Things could always be worse, and I'm always trying to see the positive because anybody on here could turn around and say, yeah, well, my life's like this and this is worse. And not to say that a, a competition to see whose life's worse, but we all have moments where, you know, this XYZ happened to me or whatever, but I have a roof over my head. There are people out there who don't have roofs over their head, and that I'm so grateful to have, especially today with so many people facing homelessness. Um, yes, sure, my roommates sometimes don't respect me and can be quite annoying, rude, but it's I would rather take annoying and rude than not have a roof over my than not have a roof over my head. So, I'm trying to be very grateful for everything around me, and my life could be worse, absolutely. Um, so yeah, if you are struggling, you are allowed to feel like things aren't okay, but also remember things can be okay, and we can get back to a position where things are good, or get to a position of where things are good if you don't feel like you've ever been in a position where they are. Um, and your strongest thing is hope. And I know that sounds so like just what on earth is this chick talking about? She's just rambling, but seriously, hope is one of the strongest things you can have. It's if it is unbreakable, you can get out of anything. It's it's wild what hope can do. I have had times where I gave up hope and things got worse. I've had times where I found hope and it got better. And it's I know it sounds crazy, but there are good people out there and people who are willing to help, and you've just got to be that for other people as well, because if we all just lend a hand to each other, I feel like the world could be so much of a better place. And I'm not talking about, go around and give away your last dime all the time 24/7, but if you see someone struggling, just offer them a hand. Something very small and simple like that. It's I've had people tell me that I help others too much, and that I wouldn't have done that. They're taking advantage of you and this and that and whatever. But I personally feel if you help each other, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because eventually one day it'll come back to you. And it has. For me, I've been repaid by countless strangers and people in my life. That it's very like I'm not being nice to expect things back. I'm just saying I'm doing nice things to spread positivity in the world, and have found that it has been redirected back my way. I think the world is a mirror, and whatever you project into it, you get back. And I think what you get from it, you should project into it. I think it's a give take situation. And I know there are some people out there in the world who will never help. Absolutely, I completely understand that. That's why this world is a little bit messed up, just a little bit. But I think if we all do 1% better, that this world could be so much like immensely better. Um, but you know, I think that's enough of me rambling for today. I I I I go on a lot of these rambles and rants a lot because I am hopeful, and that's what I was talking about. Being hopeful, I see things in the world that people do these good things, and when you hype them up, they continue to do those good things. And when you ignore the people who are doing bad things, and I'm talking about, specifically people, if you ignore them, they'll stop doing. They stop doing. If you call out people who are doing things who think you're not seeing that they're doing it, they sometimes stop. There's I feel like if every 1 in 100 times that you do a good thing, it stops a bad person from doing a bad thing, we should just do so much more good. I think the more good we do, the more good it creates. Um, but anyway, I said I was going to stop rambling about this because I seriously have gone off down some very weird train. I don't want to say weird, but yeah, just completely off tracks there. Um, I rarely ever actually talk about the builds. I know I did kind of say like, oh, it's a witch store, but that I don't even know if I said that. I just said I was inspired by a witch. Well, in case you couldn't tell, it's a witch store. So the little greenhouse bit was definitely inspired by one of the previous houses. I don't know if it was the one in this lot or one in another lot that I looked at, but it had a dining table in the greenhouse, and I thought that was amazing. It looked so good in there. So I kind of borrowed that idea for a little bit. So whoever did that, you are a genius. I know that some Sims content creators did the builds for this world. I could not tell you who did the build with uh the dining table in the greenhouse, but whoever did, amazing. Phenomenal job. I mean, all of these builds, I love it when the creators get to go and do the builds because just look phenomenal. And because they're so restrained, they can only use base game and the pack with a priority for the pack. And they can't use move objects or any cheats or stuff like that. Not cheats, mods. It's insane what people can do with just the vanilla game. It's really inspiring. I'm pretty sure last video I talked a little bit about trying to challenge myself without using mods and stuff like that. And I definitely have. I mean, I'm using move objects for sure. That's no no issue there. I'm gonna use that. But yeah, the fact that I've got no mods, it's absolutely. I did not pack restrict this build. Let me tell you, the amount of packs in this build is insane. So yeah, if you're looking for a pack restricted build, maybe go have a look at one of the starters I've done. All my starters will be pack restricted, with I believe a max of 4 of any kind of DLC. Um, so if I use 2 kits, a game pack and a stuff pack, that's it. I can't use anything else. I did try and use one of everything, so 1 expansion, 1 game, 1 stuff, 1 kit, and some of those builds didn't quite end up like that. Some of them I used just expansion packs, some of them I just used 1 expansion pack. But they are kit restricted, pack restricted, pack and kit. Yeah, if you're looking for some restricted builds, definitely check those out. I leave all of the DLC used in the description below, so if you're ever wondering what I've used in a particular build, yeah, just head down to the description. And it's just below, I believe it's just below the where to find me section. So yeah, if you're interested, it's all there. And if it's not, please yell at me because I'm supposed to have done it and I haven't, and I've been naughty. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this build. I apologize for the rambling, but I hope it made you guys feel better. I know sometimes rambling make people feel, but yeah, I hope it made you feel better. And if you want to see more builds like this or hear more rambling, make sure to subscribe. But I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.